What's going on, guys? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 12 team building video. And again, we've done quite a bit of these the last week or so. We're closing out the month in style. And again, if you enjoyed the team building videos that we've been doing, make sure to check out coaching on the channel, tier 3 sub, where you and I, we sit down on a Discord call and we do exactly what I show in these type of videos, where we build a team from scratch. We optimize the EVs, we test it out a little bit in some showdown battles. And hopefully we can get you ready for your upcoming regional or your tournament that you're trying to play in. So definitely get that checked out if you want to consider improving yourself, your squad, just to overall better your play. But anyway, back to this. So today we're looking at Solgaleo Calyrex Shadow Rider, and this is a duo that I've been looking at for quite a while, but haven't really tried to finalize a squad for it, just because I've been like testing other stuff. The last time we used Solgaleo was when we tried to use it on a Kyogre squad, you know, with the traditional Clover 6 with, you know, Tornadus, Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, Assault Vest, Entei with Bulldoze, and of course the Kyogre. So that was a more like a hyper offensive duo with a hyper offensive core with a defensive backbone with Grimmsnarl. This time around we're going with Calyrex Shadow Rider, and it's always good to have like one special attacking restricted and one physical attacking restricted, and these two, they go really well together, just because you can go for Bulldoze with the Calyrex Shadow Rider and activate the weakness policy on the Solgaleo. I mean, there's no hiding it. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that that's exactly what we're trying to do, and this is an homage to the previous kinds of formats where you had Spectrier and Metagross going for the same kind of thing. The reason why it's pretty good is because, you know, Calyrex is a fast Bulldoze user, can't be faked out because it's a ghost type unless you're running stupid Kangaskhan. And then Solgaleo, once again, also really benefits from a weakness policy activation, and then you can go for a lot of pressure in the opening turns because you're going for +2 Steel Spikes and Quakes. And then you have the Calyrex backbone just clicking Astro Barrages after turn 1. So it's a very strong hyper offensive duo, and you're pretty much forcing your opponent to like respect that and try and stop it. And then if you have that in the back of your mind, then you can sort of like counter lead them if you know what can stop this kind of duo. So from here, the idea is when you're trying to team build, you want to address the rest of the threats to the meta and stuff that's very, very strong at the moment. So, you know, what's good with the Calyrex is you deny berries. So for example, those Rinya Sun teams that are running around, you can deny Charizard the Charty Berry or the Lum Berry, and use that to your advantage with your other slot and go for that rock move, right? So you need something to pose in a more offensive threat to Sun than Solgaleo. Solgaleo is a little bit harder to bring in the Sun matchup, but we have something to do or something to bring for that matchup. And then from here, you know, you just want to round out some of the rest of the stuff, like, you know, the Palkia Ice Rider matchup, the Kyogre Zacian matchup, just a little bit more of the more common stuff, right? But remember that these two are generally very weak to Yveltal, right? So you also need something for Yveltal, or something to, like, you know, outspeed it and then just smash with either the Solgaleo or the Calyrex. It's hard to bring both into that kind of matchup, right? So you have to almost decide and play it by team preview, which of these two you want to try and bring. Maybe you still bring both depending on their team makeup, but you just have to watch out for the Yveltals, especially now since they're like the Life Orb variant, so they're a little bit more aggressive. They're a Dynamax Yveltal variant, so you have to be aware for that, especially for Life Orb foul play that just one-shots you. So you know, you don't want to suffer at the hands of that, so you have to make sure you have something for that Yveltal matchup, I would say. Okay, so how are we going to support this core? So basically, you know, with Solgaleo, one way to stop it is to burn it or sleep it or some kind of status condition, right? Those are the two main ones. So what I really like here is to have something to deny that, and I like a Tapu Fini backbone, and Fini and Solgaleo have been used in previous formats, right? With the Misty Terrain, you know, you stop those status conditions. Amoonguss is irrelevant. Well, I wouldn't say irrelevant, but, you know, it's harder to bring when you have the Fini here. And, you know, we've used Fini as of late a couple times on the channel. It's really, really good. And just it's a great option here because you can go for, you know, endgame Combine setups. You can make it bulky with Solgaleo with, you know, get those Steel Spike and Max Quake boosts which Fini very much appreciates. So it's great to have here, and then you can just make the Fini unkillable after all those Calm Mind setups and whatnot. Good into Palkia. All right, not too bad into Calyrex Ice Rider. Sometimes you can max the Fini, and then you can even use this against the Yveltal, and Yveltal doesn't want anything to do with Tapu Fini. So very, very important on this kind of squad. And then from here, I think something like Regieleki is really good, just for extra speed control. We already have it with Bulldoze, but we need something else. And I think Regieleki just makes sense here. You can lead like the other way. You can go Aleki Calyrex, break Sash with E-Webs, and then just either Dynamax this thing or just go for Astral Barrages and maybe pick up a KO, and then start steamrolling from there if you get those Oko boosts, right? With the ability from Calyrex Shadow Rider. So Aleki Shadow Rider is pretty good. Good for Kyogre as well, a little bit. So nice to have on the squad. And what I also think is good with Aleki is Landorus. So now you get Intimidate onto the team, and now you have a physical Dynamax option that's pretty good into the Sun matchup. You can Intimidate the Groudon and the Zacian, and now you have a super effective, or I should say quad effective rock move against the Charizard. Especially with the Calyrex Shadow Rider, they can't use their berry. The only thing they can really do to stop you is put in their own instant on pivot, but we have a way to stop that and ensure that you get that Charizard KO and punish them for swapping in that instant the next turn. All right. And then from here, this is also good against, other Alekis that want to get speed control in your Calyrex. So Landorus is really, really nice for this kind of squad. And if necessary, you can use this for Earthquake and proc your own policy on Solgaleo. Not advisable, but it is an option to do. Calyrex Landorus is also pretty good next to each other, right? Because you can Bulldoze next to your own Landorus, and it won't affect you because you're a flying type, and then get speed control that way. And then from there, you can go for, max Airstream plays, max Quake plays, and just really take advantage of that Bulldoze speed control with the Landorus here. And then last but not least, not Incineroar, sorry. I wanted the Grimmsnarl here, just because the team really appreciates the extra bulk with the screens, right? Very rarely will I go into battle without this thing, right? The Grimmsnarl is just like the trademark Pokemon of the channel, I would say. I know Celesteela is the mascot, but this is really the trademark Pokemon of the channel. Screen support is really good. Solgaleo very much appreciates it. So does Calyrex Shadow Rider and Tapu Fini. Same with Landorus. Even Aleki enjoys the screen support. And then you get that fairy coverage even more, because Palkia is annoying. You can just neuter it with Spirit Breaks. And then, you can get more speed control when you go for stuff like Scary Face or Thunder Wave. I think either one is good. So we have a lot of speed control options here. We're going to have a speed control option on Solgaleo in a second, but I think this is a very solid 6 to have on the team. And what you can also do with the Grimmsnarl, especially against like Trick Room teams, is, they're very passive with their Trick Room turns in the beginning. You could just set up your screens and then just chill for the end game, and then just burn out their Trick Room turns while you still have your screens up. So really, really nice to have. And if you're also going against like stronger, more hyper offensive teams, bringing the Grimmsnarl is also relatively good, just to like slow them down a little bit, and then maybe make them burn a max early, and then clean up in the back when their max is done with Solgaleo and Calyrex, and then maybe even the Fini in the back as well, something like that. So this is the 6 we're going to run, so let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. So it's going to be Grimmsnarl, Aleki, Landorus, and Fini. And now we'll go ahead and talk about the EVs, the items, and the movesets. So for Solgaleo, what I want to try and do here is stay with a very solid and consistent moveset. So of course we're going to go with the Stab, Sun, Steel Strike, and Earthquake. Earthquake's really good. You can Earthquake next to your own Landorus. If you're in that position, very, very helpful there, and doesn't really affect it because it's a flying type. Of course we want Protect just because, we have the weakness policy. We can bait out a super effective move and have them proc it for us if necessary. But what I also want here is actually Trick Room. So I think a late game Trick Room is very, very helpful. We can also punish other Trick Room teams by flipping their Trick Room against them. right, and now you might think, well, you don't have any redirection. You're never getting this up. Well, the point is not to, really go for it in the beginning. The point is to try for a late game Trick Room to, either reverse it or also click it when, the main threats are done and, just go for the finish, right? But Trick Room on Solgaleo is really good. And then from here, Calyrex, I think we're just going to stash this thing, to be honest. Of course, you want your stab move, Astral Barrage. I do like Will-O-Wisp on this. Now, you might say the Will-O-Wisp is a little counterintuitive because, you have a Tapu Fini on the team. I still think you want it just because there's a lot of physical mons that you want to bring it against that you maybe don't bring Fini to. For example, you might want to burn Groudons, you might want to burn Zacians, you want to burn Calyrex Ice Riders. I could an opposing Solgaleo. I think that's important. I'm not really worried too much about coinciding with my Fini. But if it really bothers you that much, then you can probably just go for like a grass coverage move like Leaf Storm here. Just because you want something for the Gastrodon, but excuse me, I don't really care about the Gastrodon here. So I think Will-O-Wisp is still pretty good. For Fini, just like a standard bulky offensive set, with like Muddy Water, Moonblast, that Fairy move, Calm Mind, and then Protect, right? So that's our Fini. Now Regieleki, I think we're gonna go Violent Eleki here with the Life Orb. I do like a very strong aggressive Dynamax option with the Regieleki. I think Electroweb and Protect are pretty standard here. Now from here, I think you do want Hyper Beam Max Strike Speed control. I think that's important. And then you can also go for the Rising Voltage or Thunderbolt here. I think Thunderbolt is still fine, but if you like Rising Voltage, I mean that's also pretty good here. That's Thunder Cage. Thunderbolt. Now I did think about Physical Eleki on this team, but I already have enough physical ones. Then I would have like 3 physical threats and then 2 specials. I kind of want the Eleki to be a special threat. Now if you want to go that route, you can still keep Electroweb, but go like Bounce and then Wild Charge, and then here you can keep Protect. But I do like that dark move, Assurance. I think that's pretty good. You can even go like Assault Vest Eleki here and then just go Life Orb Landers here if you want. I think that's a fine option. This way, you still get speed control with Airstreams, Max Darkness plays, just for like your Calyrex or even Fini setup for late game stuff. I think it's a fine option to have Physical Eleki here, but for now, I still like the Life Orb variant with special attacking stuff. So Hyper Beam again, and Thunderbolt or Rising Voltage if you prefer that. And then Protect in the final slot. Now Landorus, so sometimes we fear the instant swapping in if we go for the greedy rock move on the Charizard turn 1. So that's why I think White Herb works out really, really well here. And just so that you can safely lead a Landorus if they try to safely lead Incineroar as well. I think this is pretty good. And just a very standard moveset on Landorus here. That is Earth Power. That's not what I want. I still clicked Earth Power. Earthquake, there we go. Fly, Rock, Slide, and I think Protect is still pretty good here. And then Grimmsnarl, very standard Light Clay set with screens. So I think Spirit Break is really good. And then Light Screen, Reflect, and then Scary Face. Now the reason why I want Scary Face a little more at the moment, more than Thunder Wave, is well, first of all, I have a Tapu Fini. Okay, so that would coincide a little bit, but I also want to stop opposing Landers, right? Because Solgaleo really doesn't want to deal with an opposing Landers. Doesn't do too bad, but super effective Quakes are not something we want to take. So if we can just get off a Scary Face and then outspeed it and go for a defense boost with a Steel Spike first, then the Max Quake is not as threatening, and then he might even help us by proccing our policy by doing it like that. So these are our moves, right? So we actually got a lot of speed control on this squad. Look, we got Scary Face, we've got Electroweb, we've got Bulldoze, we have an Airstream user, we have a Max Strike user, we got Trick Room. We got a lot of tools to get speed control with this kind of team, and we have some strong Dynamax options. technically all of these mons can Dynamax except for the Grimmsnarl, depending on the game, right? The Regieleki can max, the Landorus can max, even the Fini can max if it's necessary against, like, you know, Palkia or Yveltal teams. The Calyrex can max, the Solgaleo is the primary max. So, like, we got 5 mons that can max, and they don't even have to max, right? They can, you know, just not max and be still a good offensive threat, just like Fini, just like Regieleki, even Calyrex. So it's a really flexible team. I like it a lot. So now let's just go ahead and do the EV spreads. I think for something like Calyrex here, I do like 252, 252. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I don't see any other need to go anything different. And of course, this will be a jolly spread. I'm sorry, a timid spread, I should say. Where are you, timid? There you are. The Grimmsnarl spread, we're just going to keep it like the same standard Grimmsnarl that we've been always using. And the type of Grimmsnarl spread that we're going for is to be able to live a Zacian Behemoth Blade with Intimidate swap-in while also clicking Reflect. So imagine turn 1, you know, Grimmsnarl plus something, and they lead Zacian. They're going for Behemoth Blade on our Grimmsnarl. So turn 1, what we do is we go for Reflect, we pivot into Landorus, and now we actually live that Behemoth Blade, and then that's important because then turn 2 we can set up a light screen, we can even Scary Face, and then, you know, kill the Zacian right back with a Max Quake. So I think that's very helpful to be able to live that first Behemoth Blade. So how do we do that? Again, we want our second EV bump in the careful nature. So you see how we go from 119 to 121 in the stat. We skip 120. This is our second EV benchmark. And once again, I will also say, if you don't know what EV bumps are, you got to check out our video where we talk about what EV bumps are. Because again, if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, you got to know what EV bumps are. Thankfully, we have a video now that explains that. Okay, and then from here, you know, you just want 1 point in attack. You don't really need attack on your Grimmsnarl. You're just trying to be supportive. And, you know, just another bulky HP spread with, you know, with 220 investment, and then 156 defense. This is the spread I'm talking about to live the Zacian Behemoth Blade, and a little bit of speed to outspeed those non-speedy Grimmsnarls, right? I think that's standard. Landorus. So in the past, we've optimized the HP a little bit for the Zacian Behemoth Blade, but that was just because we had Swords Dance. I think this time around, believe it or not, we can just go 252, 252, and I think that's still okay. If you want, you can add a little bit of HP where you can take some off with the attack and then just give yourself about 175 HP and then a point in the defensive bulk. This will help you a little bit better against like those adamanizations, but I think it's fine to just do it like this right here. That's okay. Now the Regieleki, so the Regieleki, I was trying to decide if I want to make it a slower, bulkier Regieleki with a modest build. And the way I was doing that is I want to outspeed an opposing Landorus that is +1, right? So imagine Landorus at 157. So again, if we take out a calculator, again, we did a whole video on how to calculate stat boost and speed tiers. So if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do. But again, Landorus at +1, 157 times 1.5, that's going to give me a number of 235.5, so 235, right? So I want 236 on my Regieleki if I wanted the bulkier spread, right? So I'm gonna go modest, 236 here. This will outspeed an opposing Landorus after it goes for +1, and then from here, just third EV bump in the modest nature, a point in special defense, and now I have 144 EVs left to play with for the HP and the defensive bulk. You can just do it like this, where you have optimized life orb chip reduction by ending with a 9, because remember with life orb you lose 1/10 of your max HP per turn. So by this logic, 159 divided by 10 is 15.9, which means you're taking 15 points of life orb chip per turn. But if you break the threshold and you go to 160, 160 divided by 10 is 16. Now you're taking 16 points of life orb chip per turn. Why would you do that to yourself when you can optimize it and just take only 15, right? And then the rest just goes into defense. And this defensive bulk is pretty good because this lets you live stuff like Zacian Play Roughs or Zacian Sacred Swords, especially if you got Intimidating Light Screens up. This extra bulk is very, very good. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this route and just go for a slower, bulkier, harder hitting Aleki, or if I just literally wanted to do something like this, where I just wanted to have max speed Aleki and then optimize that, whatchamacallit, and just go, you know, timid Aleki, but still deal good damage with the Life Orb and still have a good amount of special attack. In the end, I still went with this. I haven't fully decided if I want to go with the modest, bulkier route, so something to think about more when I make the rental code for May. But I think this Aleki is fine for now, as I make this video, just trying to showcase the building of the squad. All right, Fini, we did the Calyrex, right? Fini, standard set. You know, just going for that 112 benchmark, just to outspeed, you know, base 100s after a +1 boost from either Landorus or a -1 from Electroweb or Bulldoze. I also want to go to 113 just to outspeed those people that are going for 112. 30 EV bump here in the modest nature at 196. See how you go from 152 to 154 special attack? You skipped 153. That's our third EV bump. And then from here, just a point of bulk here, point of bulk here, and then finally all the rest in the HP value, right? And 176 is a good number just because you optimize your leftovers recovery, because you're getting 1/16 of your max HP per turn. So once again, if you take your calculator, if you do 176 divided by 16, you get a perfect 11. All right, so you're getting 11 points of recovery per turn, as opposed to if you did this, now it's 175, now it's like 10.9 something, which rounds down to 10. So you're only getting 10 HP back per turn. Why would you do that? So always want to end in that multiple of 16 with your HP value if you have leftovers recovery, right? And then the Calyrex. Last but not least, let's do the Lion here. So what's important with the Lion is you want to outspeed like some major threats that it would have. And a couple of major threats is obviously the opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider, stuff like Landorus, and even Zacian a little bit to a degree, right? Because, you know, Sacred Sword just ignores those defense boosts that you would get and does a pretty good chunk into Solgaleo. So I think Adamant with max speed is good, right? Because what's very convenient is this 149 mark, because after a +1 airstream or a -1 reduction from Electroweb or Bulldoze, you outspeed an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider by 1 point, right? Because if you do the math, 149 times 1.5 is 223, right? What does an opposing Calyrex that's max speed hit? He hits 222, so you outspeed it. That's important because then you can potentially KO it with a Steel Strike or a Quake, okay? Especially if it's +2. So then what you want to do here is you just want like the second bump here with the attacking stat. You know, you see how you go from 185 to 187. That's all you need for Solgaleo. You know, sometimes you can go for 180 with 198 attacking stat. It's okay. Weakness policy is very, very good. You have what you need in terms of the rest of the squad. And then from here, honestly, just 84 investment here for 223 health, you know, just to optimize, you know, terrain recovery stuff. And then I should say, you know, the sand and hail chip number, but again, you're a steel type. But then the 68 points in special defense, this will allow you to better take an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider Astro Barrage, which you not very comfortably live, but, you know, live with a little bit of health remaining, and then, you know, it could potentially KO it right back. So you always want a little bit of special defense investment in your Solgaleo if you have a weakness policy on it. All right, so I think we did all the mons, right? Yeah, so let's just go ahead and show the paste here, and then I'll showcase it in a couple of sample battles here. But again, you can see like we got a solid squad here. The makeup is clear. You got the Fini to support the squad by denying status conditions. It's good in the Palkia games. It's good for Yveltal, which is the main reason why you have it here, because Solgaleo and Calyrex don't really want to deal with Yveltal. You have the Aleki and Landorus for Yveltal as well, but, you know, it's good to have like that Fini just to, you know, force them to say, oh, you know what, I don't think Yveltal looks good here. Grimmsnarl, good screen support, very good against those passive Trick Room teams, good against, you know, Tailwind stuff, especially if they're like very hyper aggressive. Landorus, sun matchup kind of thing. And then most games you can just go ham with Calyrex Bulldoze with Solgaleo in the beginning, and then clean things up with like Regieleki plus something else like either Fini or Landorus. I think that's more than enough. So yeah, definitely a cool squad. So let's just go ahead and show a couple of those damage calcs that I was talking about, just to like, you know, prove to you what I'm saying is actually legitimate. All right, and then we'll showcase some of those sample battles. All right, so let's take a look at Solgaleo against a Life Orb Timid 252 Yveltal here. So the main thing to look at and see if you can survive is like any of its dark moves. And unfortunately, no. Like if it has Dark Pulse or Foul Play, Life Orb, Timid 252, this Solgaleo is as good as cooked. With Light Screen, you can live the Dark Pulse. The Foul Play, unfortunately, is not negotiable here. Maybe with Reflect. Okay, so with Reflect, we actually do live the Foul Play, right? So, again, with the Dark Pulse, okay, Dark Pulse with no screens, Dark Pulse and Foul Play, they both kill, okay? If there's Light Screen, we live the Dark Pulse. If there's Foul Play, with Reflect Up, we live it, okay? So that's the main thing. If we're Dynamax with no screens against Life Orb Yveltal, it's a roll against the Max Darkness Dark Pulse. We can live the Max Darkness from the Foul Play, but again, if we have Reflect and Light Screen up, we can live that Darkness play. So if it's a good roll, 70%, then we get our policy going, and then we could, you know, go for, you know, +2 Steel Spike into that Yveltal, or +2 Steel Spike or Quake into something else. But you do need the screens up, so that's one thing to consider if you're going against Dynamax Yveltal here. But the main thing with this build, with this EV spread, is to live that Calyrex Astro Barrage, and I'll just show you that calc real quick. I'll remove the Life Orb because no one's running Life Orb anymore. They're all Focus Sash, so Astro Barrage 83 to 99.5%. So this is what I mean. We survive it, we get our policy going, maybe we even KO it with a Steel Strike or an Earthquake or Mech or something, right? So good to know with those two calcs. Those are the main two that I wanted to show. Now you can start calcing stuff like Light Screen, Kyogre, you know, Water Spout stuff. So you can take a look at that as well if you want. You know what? I might as well just show that. You know, since I'm talking about it, I might as well just show that. Let's do a simple Kyogre set. Which one do I want? All right, let's just go this one, right? Okay, that's not the one I wanted. All right, let's just say it's 252. This is an older Kyogre build. Okay, let's just say it's 252 Kyogre Modest. And then it goes for Water Spout. Like, okay, I see that it kills me in the rain, pretty much, right? But if I have Light Screen, it still does a lot. I do live. I think I would just have to max. What if he maxes? How much am I taking? All right, so about 50%. I'll take that. That's okay. That's okay. We have a Calyrex and an Eleki on the team. We'll be all right. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I'm showing you. You know, you don't know this kind of stuff unless you like actually try and test the squad. So I know I've been testing this a little bit, so I know this kind of calc. So, but again, when you're doing testing with the squad, you know, you don't see things, and you don't try and calc for things until you experience it firsthand. So I always say there's no replacement for battle experience. You know, I can do all the calcs I want, but unless I actually go out there and play the game, I won't know what I'm calcing for. So just keep that in mind. Let's move on. Okay, so this one is Zacian with Calyrex. Okay, that's a weird one. He does have Dynamax Eleki here. I'm sure that's Dynamax Eleki. So, you know, Solgaleo is looking pretty good here, I would say. Same with Calyrex. Now, there's one thing that I am wary of is the Gashodon with Yawn stuff. So, I think Fini also looks pretty good here. So here we go. There's the Eleki and there's the Gashodon. I already suspect some shenanigans right off the bat. I think it's still safe to go for the combo here, even if this thing goes for Electroweb. It actually just goes for Volt Switch. I don't quite understand that. But there's the Incin, so I'll gladly take an Incineroar kill, I would say. He probably thought I was going for Astro Barrage. Why would I do that when I can just do this and then just remove the Incin? And now that's one less threat to Calyrex. So he goes for Yawn, right? That's okay. So here's the Electroweb. Now, the thing here is we go into the Fini, right? And now we don't get Yawned. And now we just remove the Electroweb here. He goes for Electroweb. Imagine if he Dynamaxed that and went into the Calyrex slot. But anyway, we go for the Quaker. We get another special defense boost on Solgaleo. So it's looking really good in the end game. And he does Dynamax the Gastrodon. And there's the Zacian here. Of course, we just want to stall one kind of turn from the Zacian. All right, so he goes for the sub. All right, I get a defense boost, but again, if he has Sacred Sword, it's not going to matter. So we stall out one more turn from the Gastrodon here. And now, you know, honestly, we can just go into Grim. I'll give him this. Now, it's weird to see Grim in the back, but it does work out. In some cases, you just got to know how to use it, man. There's another Quake again, but that doesn't do anything because, you know, we're Solgaleo and, you know, these things are not that great. So I go for the speed control on the Zacian with Scary Face, and that's why I'm able to lead Grimmsnarl in the back because I know how to use Grimmsnarl, unlike a lot of people, because, you know, this is my Mon. I know how to bring it in the back if I need to. So we win this one. And that's how you do it. So, like, you see how he played for the Dynamax Gastrodon? Sometimes you have to prepare for that. And thankfully, we had the Tapu Fini to deny the Yawn. And he was pretty much just forced to Dynamax the Gastrodon, right? So, and he didn't even bring the Calyrex, so that's cool. Okay, so this is one of those Palkia Calyrex Ice Rider teams. So again, this is something where I can lead the Grimmsnarl and set up my screens and play for a later game Dynamax. But I don't see why I can't just go Bulldoze with the Calyrex and just start smashing things, right? Especially if there's a Mimikyu here where I can just, you know, break the disguise and then just go for a Steel Spike and just remove it from the game right from the beginning, right? So honestly, that's pretty much what I'm going to try and do. But he does lead something that I didn't think about until I saw it. And I'll show you that lead that he does. It's actually Mimikyu Rillaboom. Here's the Solgaleo, here's the Calyrex. Now, I honestly didn't think he would do this. But I'll show you exactly what he did. So I figured, oh, you know what? He's just going to go for Grassy Glide and whatnot and try and set up Trick Room. But instead, what he does is he goes for the Glide and he goes for the Shadow Sneak. And then he stops my Policy. So that's actually a pretty good play for him. And shame on me for not seeing that in the beginning. But still, we get a defense boost. Here's my Grimmsnarl once again in the back. So once again, we are going for that screen support. But still, you know, I still have 2 defense boosts. And Grimmsnarl can set up my team very nicely here. And there's the Palkia. That's not really threatening here, especially with the Grimmsnarl. He's forced to guard. And that's fine because I didn't care about the Palkia. I just wanted to remove the Rillaboom because that's what I considered the threat at the moment because I know he has Calyrex Ice in the back. Another Grassy Glide here, but then again, there's the Steel Strike there. So we pick up the Rillaboom, which is good. And now he lets me get off a Spirit Break on his Palkia, and he's stuck there. He's stuck with -1, and I have both my screens up, and I'm slowly getting recovery thanks to the Rillaboom. There's the Calyrex. I mean, this could go for Trick Room. He could go for the Glacial Lance. You might say the Sunsteel Strike is a bit of a mistake, but it's not. It really isn't. All right, just because I have my own kind of Trick Room setup here. So now, what I decided to bring in as my last mon is the Tapu Fini, which does really well into Palkia and Calyrex. And he opts to go for the Fini instead. I thought he should have clicked that into the Solgaleo. And he misses the Hydro Pump anyway. So now he's getting punished. And now I flip the Trick Room on him. This is why you run Trick Room on Solgaleo. I keep the Calyrex honest by forcing it to protect. And still keep going for that Muddy Water. This Palkia is not doing a whole lot of damage. He does reflip my Trick Room, which is kind of funny. Now he goes for the Lance, but look how much damage that does. Even with the Policy, because I have the defense boost and the Reflect, that's why I wasn't really worried about proccing the Policy. I knew it really wasn't going to do that much. Alright, and there's the Earth Power, and it still doesn't kill Solgaleo, and now he procs my Policy, and that's pretty much just game. We go for the Sunsteel Strike, and we get the KO on Palkia, right? So he surprised me with that lead with Rillaboom and Mimikyu, but really all it did was just let me get my defense boost going with Solgaleo. So we were able to, you know, outmaneuver those early game shenanigans. So let's look at another one. Okay, so there's a circuitry on a Zacian Kyogre team. I have no idea what that thing's supposed to do. I'd much rather see an Electroweb on that, but again, you know, I think our combo just kind of goes bonkers. I think I like Landorus coming into this because, you know, three things don't want to take Intimidate, and you know, if I just put Grimmsnarl here and click screens, I think Landorus can do a good job here. So I'm gonna go with Grimmsnarl. I'm gonna go with Landorus just in case he tries to lead Zacian. He does not. He just goes for typical Tone Ogre stuff. So this is where Protect is really helpful here. He's going for the Water Spout. I go for Light Screen. I take a Light Screen very comfortably. I mean, I take a Water Spout at least. So now I go for the Scary Face combo and go for Rock Slide stuff. He goes for Brick Break. And I outspeed this Ogre, so this is good to know that it's not Scarf. We get the flinch, which is what I was hoping for. Alright, I Scary Face that thing. I go for another Rock Slide. That's very good damage on both these mons. Flinch number 2, flinch number 3. That's how you got to play this game. You just get all these flinches. Stall out his Tailwind turns. Of course, he's probably going to switch out the Tornadoes because he doesn't want his Tailwind to expire. And again, I get my Reflect up. So I'm chilling with my Reflect here. I don't want the Landorus to go down just yet to all of this nonsense from the Zacian here. So I'm just going to Protect first. And I bait the Zacian stuff, and he goes for Behemoth Blade, right? He wants to kill the Landorus, but I made it slower with Scary Face, which is very important here. And now I just switch out into Solgaleo because I don't want to again die to the combo here, Rillaboom and Zacian. So he kills the Grim, which is good because now I get into this, right? This is what I was hoping for. So behind my Reflect, I now have the position that I want with Calyrex and Solgaleo. And you already know what's coming in, but I want to intimidate the Rillaboom a little bit one more time. He goes for Tailwind. He's going for the Grassy Glide stuff. That's okay. I go for the Sunsteel Strike. I kill the Torn because now what I do is I trap the Rillaboom in at -1. And this Kyogre is not threatening if I can just remove it now. Okay, I protect the Lando because he's either going to go for Fake Out or Grassy Glide, just like that, or especially with the Water Spout. But again, I have a lot of bulk on the Solgaleo, and there goes the Kyogre. So now the Rillaboom is definitely trapped here at -1, and now here comes the Zacian. So now he's forced to Dynamax this Rillaboom at -1, and that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was playing for. And now I have two options with this Landorus. I can keep it in, but I want to save it for the Zacian endgame, so I don't want to just die to Behemoth Blade. So I'll give him the Calyrex here. I think that's fine. If he chooses to go for it, I don't really need it that much. I think Solgaleo is my win con at this point. So there he goes. He goes for the Landorus. That's why I didn't want to, risk it. He could have doubled up there, but he decided to go for Solgaleo, which is weird. So I get a defense boost here. And now what ends up happening is I'm going to stall out his Tailwind. He's definitely going to go for the Calyrex here. He goes for Knuckle here, which is kind of cool. So the Zacian is +2. The Rillaboom is back to neutral. Another Steel Spike. That's what I want here, just to get these defense boosts. But again, now that the Calyrex outspeeds, I can go for the Bulldoze, and I can honestly just go for the Earthquake here. And I think that just pretty much just kills everything that he has here. And I know he has a Dynamax Rillaboom still, but I have a Landorus. I'm not worried. That's definitely not killing. And now we just bring in the Landorus. We re-intimidate the Rillaboom, so now he's back to neutral. No more Dynamax. He has no terrain. This game was over, and that's how you play this game. Alright, so you saw how we got in position. We stalled out what we needed to stall out. We got some lucky flinches, which is kind of funny. Oh yeah, I remember this. This guy was annoying. He played silly. Alright, so he's got Whimsicott, Weavile, and Dracovish. For some reason, he's got these 3 mons on this team. I don't know why, but again, we have what we need. Okay, so he goes with Weavile and Whimsicott. That's a quite good lead. I go with Grimmsnarl. I go with Fini. This is pretty good against Yveltal stuff. So he fakes out my Grim. That's cool. He goes for Gleam. That's okay. I go for the Calm Mind. So I'm trying to set up the Fini here, and he goes for Encore. So he's just letting me click Calm Mind. He goes for Axel. He goes onto the Grim. Almost kills the Grim, but not quite. And now, honestly, I'm just chilling here. I have my Reflect. I have my Light Screen. He misses the triple Axel. He kills my Grimmsnarl. So my Fini is getting set up here with all these boosts with Calm Mind. So I don't mind if you're going for this. Here's the Eleki. There's the Tailwind. He goes for the Axel now. And he misses, but he does get the flinch. He might as well just get his flinch. I think he has that item that makes me flinch. I don't think triple Axel actually does that. But once again, there's the Encore on the Fini. Again, I'm just stalling out his Tailwind turns, and my Fini's just boosting up here. At this point, you know, I was like, all right, I'm sick of this. I'm just gonna Dynamax the Fini and end this game right here, right now. He does kill the Regieleki after the Dazzling Gleam, so you know he kind of killed 2 mons for free. But I go for the Whimsicott. I don't want it to, like, you know, get more Tailwind stuff. Here comes the Calyrex. I just want to protect the Calyrex because I know there's a Yveltal here, so which is exactly what he was going for, and he had his turn of Tailwind left. So I want to remove the Yveltal, alright, and get rid of that dark coverage stuff. And now he probably brings in something like Zacian or Yveltal, which is exactly what he does. And honestly, you know, he wants to protect my he wants to encore my Cal. He goes for the Fini here. I don't know why he did that. And he just gives me the Zacian for free. So now I just pretty much win the game because there's nothing that he can really max that can stop the Fini. So thank you for clicking Encore 50 million times. All right, maybe if you clicked an attack, maybe you could have tried to kill the Fini, but you know, Snarl is not going to do it. Goodbye, Yveltal. You probably should have just maxed. And now that's pretty much all she wrote. You know, nice little cotton ball trick you got there, but it's not going to work. All right, so that's the squad that we got right now. I think it's pretty good for what we wanted to do. I'm sure about the 6. Again, I'm still toying with the Regieleki. I'm not sure if I want to try a bulkier, slower, modest spread that does more damage, or if I just want to keep it like this with 252 timid and, you know, with just, you know, enough special attack where, you know, we still do decent damage here. But let me know what you think of this 6 and this type of duo with Solgaleo and Calyrex Shadow Rider. Again, I tried to patch up the weaknesses as much as possible while still giving me like good coverage and good speed control on the team, which is really all you can really ask for when you're trying to do team building with VGC. And once again, check out coaching for the channel here. It's a tier 3 sub. Link is in the video description, or you know, if you go on the YouTube page on a computer or a laptop, you can see the join button. Join the channel. Tier 3 sub will give you access to team building with me, where we sit down on a Discord call. We build a team from scratch. We, you know, optimize all those EVs. We hash out some of the damage calcs. We probably tested a little bit on Showdown. And then this way we get your squad ready for a tournament or upcoming regional. We've done quite a few sessions already in April, and we're probably going to do a little bit more sessions in May because a lot of people are interested. So definitely book your session with me. And I promise I'll make you worth your time. So we'll be back with another Series 12 squad. Until then, guys, have a good one. Peace out.